a great performance is just not by luck. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of focus, and a heart. And that's what my guest tonight helps people with. A very warm welcome to all of you who are joining in right now. Also, those who will be joining a bit later, and also those who will be watching it way later. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching the third episode of Step Up with Natasha. And today I have a very accomplished personality with me. Though I've already spoken a lot about him in my previous videos, but let's reiterate because I can't emphasize enough about his accomplishments. So he's the performance coach and founder of Life Redesigned. He is the resident coach and head of learning at Mindvalley. He's inducted at Forbes Coaches Council. He is a part of World's Economic Forum's Global Shapers. He has coached and trained people at IBM, Amex, KPMG, you name it. He's been featured in Huffington Post, International Coaching Federation, and World's Top 100 Minds, Top 100 Training and Development Minds by World HRD Congress. And he is on his way to coach 1 million people. That's a lot. So I would like to present to all of you with great, with great applause from wherever you are, Coach Karfei. Whoa! Thank you so much, Coach Karfei, for being here and for taking out all the time to actually be with me here. I know I've already said thanks enough number of times, but still, thank you so much.
Well, it is my pleasure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for, whoever's gonna, who's tuning in right now and whoever's gonna watch this later. It's a privilege to be here. I mean, Natasha, you asked me to get on live and to really talk about what we'll be talking about after this, and it's something that's close to my heart. I mean, I've been coaching for almost 10 years now, and it's a topic that is a recurring topic that a lot of people are talking about. So for me, it's just something that I can squeeze a bit of time to be able to do this. So it's a privilege, it's an honor to be able to do it.
But I mean, to be very honest, that's like a lot of achievements. I really needed a breather there when I was actually talking about it. So, like, in what span of time you have been able to achieve all of this? How many years?
Well, like I said, 10 years, almost 10 years. A lot of things that I've been doing, a lot of hard work over 10 years. And a lot of people only see the glory of it in the recent 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
But I have to say, but I think that it's the same with all successes in life, is that it takes time, right?
Yes.
You don't see the successes in a short period of time, but over a long period of time, then you start to see that massive success in your life. People start to see you, people recognize you, you get different achievements, and so on and so forth. So yeah, for me, it has been, this year is actually going into my 10th year. So it's almost 10 years for me.
Wow. So I guess that's actually a very good point to start with, because that gives me a cue that, like, whatever you achieved so far, if I ask you one thing, like that one thing which has pushed you beyond your limits to actually go for all of these things, all of the things that you've accomplished so far, what's that one thing that you would actually credit it to? Like, is it a particular habit? Is it your ritual? Is it your lifestyle? Is it a mentor?
Oh, that is a tough question, really. If I were to pinpoint it to one thing, I guess if I were to pinpoint it to one thing, it will be having a sense of purpose. Yeah, like that sense of purpose is the one that keeps me going. It is the one that kind of hold me back when things are tough. It's the one that kind of pushes me when I needed that push to kind of, like, get out of my comfort zone and so on. So for me, yeah, had that strong purpose and strong why. It's probably the one that it's sticking to me the most, if I had to choose one. But obviously, I have more than one for sure.
Yes. Okay. So how would you differentiate? Because I'm a passion clarity coach, and you've spoken about purpose, and I've seen your interviews. How would you differentiate passion from purpose?
Well, for me, passion is what gets you started. Purpose is what keeps you going.
Okay.
It's really as simple as that, right? Like I was telling you just now. I mean, I could have been really passionate. I mean, I am still very passionate about coaching.
Yeah.
I started coaching when I was 20 years old, in my final year of university, and I got my coaching certifications, and then I started coaching from there. But let me ask you a question, or the audiences, whoever who's watching right now, please comment if you agree. Like, who the hell is going to listen to a 21-year-old coach, right? If any of you are going to listen to a 21-year-old coach, please say yes. If not, just say no, right? Whoever that's watching, please leave a comment. So that itself, it's what I'm trying to say there. It's that, having purpose, having only a passion is not enough. Passion gets you started. It kind of pushes you, gives you that burning fire to kind of start doing something.
Right.
But purpose is the one that's going to keep you going when times are tough. Because think about it, right? Purpose. What is purpose? What is passion? Sorry. Passion is just a feeling that you get when you love something that you do. It's that inner feeling that you get when you're doing something that you're really happy about, something that gives you results, something that, I don't know, make you rich or make you feel successful. That's the feeling came after that, right? So is that the kind of feeling that you can maintain all the time when things are tough? No, you can't. Sometimes, I mean, over the past 10 years as a coach, I have to do things that I don't like. I have to do things that I'm not passionate about in order for me to be able to get to where I am today, right? So is that passion? No, there's no passion in certain things that I do, but I have a big purpose, right?
Yes.
So for me, really, passion is what gets you started. Purpose is what keeps you going.
Perfect. In fact, you actually it's answered in a sort of way my next question when you said that. So in fact, I always used to think that people say that when you work something that you're passionate about, you're actually working from a space of flow, the flow state that we call it, right? That things just happen and you don't even feel tired. But when you actually make a living out of your passion, I'm sure there are days when you don't feel up for doing that particular thing because, like I say, that we are emotional beings. We might have off days, and in those days, it's actually a consistency that you have to show up to whatever you have chosen. But then, I always used to get confused because I've heard this from the legends and the masters that whenever you're creating something, create it like you're creating the masterpiece of your life. And if I'm creating a masterpiece with a sense that, okay, I just have to go through the day, I just have to survive the day. Tomorrow, I'm sure that, I would be back again feeling passionate about it. That should not happen. So I was about to ask you that passion or consistency. Because when you are actually making a living out of your passion, there are days when you don't feel passion. You are like little off. You are not in that zone to actually do it. But still, I guess the consistency keeps you going. So how you manage that?
Well, I think one thing that you highlighted earlier was about, flow, right? Like a lot of people think that, when you do something that you love, when you do something that you're passionate about, that is when flow come to you.
Yes.
I actually disagree with that because flow is something that you can create.
Right.
Again, what is flow, right? Flow, it's that sense of, being so immersed in what you do, and you just lost sense of time. You just, you just lost track of anything. You don't feel hungry. You lost sense of time. You just keep on, getting things done. And flow can be created, right? A lot of people think that you only get flow when you do things that you love, which is not true. You can create flow so that you can get into the flow while you are doing things that you don't love.
I need to know how to do that because I always felt that I really am not able to perform in certain areas or certain things is because I'm not passionate about it. But you said that if I create a flow state, then I can also put in that amount of energy in things that I don't love. How do you do that?
Well, first things first, I guess really important is that I want to bring it back to what I talked about just now. It's purpose keeps you going, right? So you need to have that strong purpose, right? Like whatever you're doing, clearly, right? The reason why I'm doing this is because of this purpose, right? So that's like the prerequisite, right? Having a purpose. Second is your environment, right? Every time when you get into the flow, there is certain things in your environment that change. Try to after this, for the next 7 days or so, try to notice those things, right? Notice what were you doing before, or the environment, or what's happening around you when you go into that flow state to do what you love. And then notice what was happening around you or the environment when you go into doing things that you don't love. Everything has a strategy. So when you're not in the flow, there is a
Right.
strategy to it. There's a reason why you're not getting into the flow, and at the same time, there's a reason why you're getting into the flow. So the environment plays a big
Right.
part of it, right? So it depends
Okay.
what works for you. You have to be able to look at what kind of gets you into that mental energy, what kind of gets you into the flow, and recreate that environment. So environment, it's the first thing. And
Right.
second thing for me, it's a lot of people, you know, two things, right? Number one is they don't love what they're supposed to do, and then they can't get into the flow, right?
Yes.
But but the thing about this is that most of the time people can't get into the flow, or they don't love to do what they're supposed to do. It's actually because they are not really good at it. It is probably not something of their core strength. Probably
Okay.
not something they're very very good at, right? So that's
The
the second
define
thing.
them.
It's
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
competency builds confidence,
Right.
right? So you need to be able to kind of do it so that it builds that confidence for you to keep doing it, and that will help you to create that flow, right? So if you think about whatever that you're supposed to do, right? Like one of the things I have to do a lot in my coaching business, in my career for the past 10 years, is actually sales.
Okay.
I have to spend probably 60, 70, probably almost 80% of my time doing sales,
Okay.
right? And that's just how it is. If you don't do sales, you can't coach. If you don't do
Yes.
sales, you have no clients, right?
Yes.
That's just how it is. Do I
Right.
love to do sales? No, I don't. But I think the limiting belief here, it's a couple of things, right? Number one, I don't think I'm good at sales, and that's the reason why I was very resistant to it. But when I
Right.
have that strong purpose, I know, you know what? If you don't do sales, you can't coach. So stop calling yourself a coach. That's how I was framing my mind. So I forced myself to do it, and that builds my confidence. And then that kind of keeps me doing it again and again and again. That kind of become a flow for me, right? So that's how I recreate that flow when I have to do things that I don't like. I mean, there are still things I don't like to do, right? Proposals and stuff, but those are different, different questions altogether, because there are things that you
Right.
can delegate, right?
Right.
So there are certain things that it's not that what you're supposed to do. And if you don't think you're good at it, just give it to someone else, right? Sometimes you don't force yourself to get into the flow, right? So for me, that it's the two key things: the environment, and also
Right.
making that shift, right?
Right.
Competence builds confidence. Making that,
Right.
creating that confidence to do it, that helps me a lot.
Okay. So when you say that, the environment, you have to be very attentive to the details that how your environment has shifted or is shifting when you're going in the state of flow. Are we talking about being more mindful and more present in the moment at that point of time? Is that what we are talking about?
Not when you are in the flow, but be more conscious about your day-to-day life
Right.
when you're getting to work, right? Like a lot of us have, and I think a lot of people, whoever was listening, you can type yes if you agree, right? Is that we we wake up automatically, we probably snooze our alarm a few times, and then we wake up again, we go to the bathroom, we take our shower, we brush our teeth, we then rush out, change, and then we go grab our breakfast, and then go to our car, rush to the office, stuck in the traffic, get to the office, getting so frustrated, you're like, shit, man, what's happening with the traffic? And you start complaining, and then you get into work, and then you're like, well, what's wrong with my computer? It's so slow, it's so lag, and that's how a typical day of work is.
Yes.
And what I'm trying to say here is that people are not mindful about the state of them going to do anything, right? My
Right.
state when I come into this conversation.
Yeah.
Before this, when I was outside in the living room in my house, I was in a totally different state. Different state. I was cooking dinner. I was, kind of like in a state of being a house husband, which is, I was cooking dinner. I was exercising. I was doing the chores. I was, getting rubbish out and all these things. Do you think if I were to just, you know, finish doing all those things and just rush in and get to the call, am I going to have the same state of mind and same clarity when I speak? It's not, right?
Right.
So that consciousness is very important. every time when you do something, in order for you to do it well, and in order for you to be able to perform really well at it, you need to change your state. And that is what we were talking about just now, flow, right?
Right.
So you need to be present about what's happening around you and how you are reacting to it, right?
Right.
You
Right.
can't get into a flow state if you rush from a traffic jam and then
Yeah.
rush to get a parking, and you were complaining about that, how many, like there's not enough parkings and so on. You get into the office and then you get to the laptop and you start to work and you expect yourself to get into flow. It's almost impossible,
Right.
right? So that
Right.
mindfulness to what's happening and consciousness, I call
Right.
it, is very important.
Right. Okay. So if I may compare it with something like that, for example, when an athlete has to run the sprint, it's just not that, they come to the ground and they directly go for the sprint. There's the whole, they would be in their locker room, then they'll come there, then they would, just take the warm up, and then they'll have that in the position, and there'll be a count to 1, 2, 3, and then they go. So it's a slow build up to the moment and situation where they are like, okay, I'm mentally preparing myself. So that's what we are talking about, that you need
Yep.
that time off, that time window where you can be with yourself and make yourself go in that situation before you actually go in that situation. Basically, I have to mentally go in that situation first before I physically present myself there, right?
Correct, and that's the power of the mind, and
Right.
majority of people don't do it. If
Right.
you guys are interested, you can watch my TEDx talk. My TEDx talk, I think, have about, like, I don't know, close to 10,000 views, as I think. When I talk about a superpower that 99% of people don't
Yeah.
realize that they have, and that is the
Yeah.
power of their mind.
Oh, my. Yeah.
And you really put it really well. I like it. Is that you need to put your mind into that flow first
Yeah.
before your body gets into it, right? And most of the time we make that mistake of putting our body into
Putting
it,
your body
and then that
first.
affects our mind, right,
Yes.
negatively,
Yes.
and that's the whole negative cycle,
Yeah.
right? So we need to put our mind into it first,
Right.
and then our body get into it, and to be able to perform better. And I think athlete is a great example. There is no one single athlete in the world that
Yeah.
doesn't have a pre-game routine.
Yes.
They all have it.
Yeah, yeah, that's so right. In fact, when you spoke about your TED talk right now, that also took me back. That I remember I watched your interviews, and in one of it, you said that there is no one passion, and one should be multi-passionate, right? So when you say that, are we talking about that? Just don't focus on one area of your life, like as in all the areas of your life should be fulfilled, and you should be passionate about all the areas of your life, or are we talking about that? Don't be just passionate about one stream in your career. You should look at other options as well and explore and be passionate about them as well.
Okay. I actually talk about this on my second TED Talk, being multi-passionate. So I have two TED Talks, right?
Right.
So to answer that question, the reason why I spoke about multi-passionate in the TED Talk is because over the past 10 years of me working with a lot of young professionals,
Right.
sometimes I use my free time to coach and mentor young final year students as well in
Right.
the past few years, but not now. Is that every single time when I talk to them, they have this one question in their head, and that it's, Karfei, how do I find my passion in life,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That's a
And
typical question, most important question, right?
yes, exactly. And think about that question. The mistake about
Yeah.
asking that question is that everyone thinks that, number one, they only have one passion in life. Number
Yes.
two,
Yeah.
believe that right now I don't have any passion. I need
Yeah.
to, find it. And
Yeah.
then when I find it, when
Yeah.
I acquire it, it will be the passion with me for the rest of my life.
Yes.
And
Right.
that doesn't happen. It never happens.
Okay.
Look at people who love to do what they do. I mean, a great example, we were talking about athletes, and I love to use athletes as example because athlete, it's an epitome of high performance, right?
Yeah.
World champion. They have to perform day in, day out, every single tournament, years after years, right? They
Right.
maintain a consistency, right? The late Kobe Bryant, he's one of
Yeah.
my biggest role models, the NBA star, the guy who kind of like emulates Michael Jordan, right? he is, I mean, if we look at it, we think that he's only passionate about basketball, but he's
Basketball.
not.
Yeah.
He's also passionate about storytelling.
Yeah.
While he was finishing up his career in NBA, he already started one or two production company to allow
Yes.
him to channel his creative side
Right.
of him, right?
Right.
But what I'm
Right.
trying to say is that the reason why I spoke about multi-passion in my TED Talk is because of that. People think and people feel that, if I don't get it right now, like if I don't get
Yeah.
it correct in this moment, my life is going to be screwed. And
Yeah.
that's the reason why I talk about multi-passionate is because we can have different passion in life. We can have like a bit of that passion in your career. You might not love it, but you're pretty good at it and it pays you pretty well,
Right.
right? And
Right.
that's fine. But at the same time, you have passion in, let's say, being an Iron Man, or you have passion in charity, you have
Right.
passion in painting, you have
Right.
passion in being a barista in a cafe, right?
Right.
Why don't you
Right.
do different things at the same time,
Right.
right? You don't have
Right.
to make sure that everything is one, right? And the reason why I talk about it, it has to do with this tattoo on my hand right now. This
Ikigai.
one,
Yeah.
ikigai, correct? Uh,
Yeah.
uh, and this, I mean, I love it, but
Yeah.
I don't think it is the ultimate goal for every single human on earth.
Okay.
Why do I say that? It's because ikigai really tells you that, in order for you to have a great life, have a strong purpose, it's you need to make sure that all the four things are the same, right?
Yes.
What you're good
Yeah.
at, what you get
Yeah.
paid for, what you love to do, and what the world needs. It all has to
Yeah.
be one thing.
Okay. Right.
But
But
is
it's
there that one thing that fits everyone? There's no. But
no.
what if you look at it differently? That you can have a good career that you love
Right.
and that you're really good at and pays you well,
Right.
right? Or maybe you can have a career that you get paid really well, you are good at, but it's not what you love. But what you love is something else that you do, let's say, on the weekend. Or what you love is something that you do on a weekday night and you do it on a consistent basis. Why can't this be a good life?
Okay. Okay. So, what you said, walk through me. Okay, walk with me through this. That there are certain set of people who feel that if they will not work on what they're passionate about, as in terms of their career, they will not be able to love anything else. There is, because I can say, because I came from that school of thought where, to be very honest, I've jumped jobs and I've jumped industries because I always felt that this is not what I'm passionate about. And now, of course, I've found coaching and I'm absolutely in love with it. And so far, I mean, it's going pretty good. So, but then I'm sure there is that set of people who feel that if they won't work, because I'm giving 8 to 10 hours of my everyday life to my career, so it better be not something that is draining my energy. It should be something that I'm really looking forward to every day, right? So, for those kind of people, like you said, that so what, I mean, if you're not really if you're not loving what you are doing, but you're decently good at it, at least you can find your passion in other areas of life. Then how those kind of people should deal with the whole career and passion thing?
Well, I think ultimately it really boils down to, circumstances. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not a believer of, if you hate your job, just quit your job and do nothing. Or if you hate your job, quit your job and then figure it out as you go along. I'm not a
Right.
believer of that because I don't came from a privileged family, right? So I know
Right.
that I can't do that. When I
Right.
started my coaching business when I was 21 years old, I had like enough savings that could last me for 3 years. That's it,
Okay.
right? And I need to be able to either succeed in the 3 years or I have to go and look for a job, which I actually ended up looking for a job.
Okay.
And that's the reason why how I ended up in Mindvalley and becoming the resident coach, which
Yeah.
actually right now, if I look at it, it's a catalyst that propels my coaching career, right? So that's a story for a different day. But there
Right.
are people in this world who don't have the privilege to just quit their job to be able to
Yeah.
do what they love, right?
Right.
Because they have family to take care of. They have their student loans. They have things that they need to pay for, and
Right.
that's just life. Money is a big part of life, right? So
Right.
for those people who are facing these things, there's a couple of things that you can do. Number one, it's, my mentor told me this, right? You either love what you do,
Yeah.
or you try to love what you do,
Yeah.
or you leave,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if leaving is not the option, then you
Yes.
either love it or you try to love it.
Try to love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, I know, again, I've worked with a lot of businesses, a lot of corporations, and so on. I've seen some organizations really have bad work cultures and so on. So my question to whoever who's facing this issue is, number one, if you're really in a workplace or work environment that's really toxic, and what I mean
Right.
by toxic is that it's really harmful. It's, when you go to the office, your managers or your leaders, I wouldn't even call these people leaders. Your managers are just, saying bad things about you. Your managers never care about you. Your
Yeah.
managers probably, throw every single thing at you, and expect you to work like 17 hours a day or something like that, right? For me, those are really toxic environment. And I think for those, you should leave, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you need to really see what's happening, because I've also seen a lot of people who leave their job just because they feel that, oh, I don't love to do what I'm doing right now. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, but you can give it a couple more years or a couple more
Yeah.
months
Months. Okay.
while you are going out to look for a job.
Yeah.
Or the fact that when they say that I hate what I'm doing, it blinded them from actually seeing other opportunities in the same company,
Okay. Okay.
right? So right now in the world, the workplace has been changing. Right now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of talks about lateral movement.
Yeah.
It's not about climbing the corporate ladder anymore. It's about lateral movements. People
Right.
want to be able to probably, what, I'm doing marketing today, and you know
Yeah.
what, I don't really like it, right?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
don't you try and go to sales,
Right.
right? Okay, wait, sales, I'm really not good at it. Why don't I go to operations, right?
Right.
So
Right.
lateral movement is something that it's more dominant these days in big companies, because they don't want to spend time hiring new people. They would rather retain whoever that they already have and give
Right.
them chance to do other things or things
Yeah.
that they love, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's my advice, right? If you can't leave, try to love what you do.
Mm.
If you can't, then within the same organizations, try to find things that you love to do.
Okay. Within the same organization, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that also brings me to the point you very rightly said that maybe you're not liking the profile that you're working on, but there might be other factors in the organization. You can have a really good boss as your supporter, you can have a really good team building people, you can have a lot of the things in the organization going for you that you can at least stick to it and give it a shot before you actually move out of it, right?
Exactly. I mean, again, like I said, right? If it's paying you decent, I mean, you can
Yeah.
make a living out of it.
Yeah.
You have a decent manager or a leader that doesn't kind of like, throw shit at you or demean
Right.
you or whatever.
Right.
I think it's an opportunity for growth if you stay there for a couple more months
Right.
or maybe a year more, so that you
Right.
can either build your finances, you can build your reputation, you can have a mentor in the company, and then you decide what to do.
Okay. Okay. So this is for the people that till the time they're not able to figure out what they are passionate about. Now then the second step
Mm.
comes when you actually figured out, and then the whole process to actually mastering your genius and being the genius in your own industry or in your own stream comes up, wherein we have read so much in the stories like all throughout that whosoever carved a name for themselves in terms of their industry, they have actually invested and given all of themselves, like all the time and dedicated effort. Even if I talk about Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, he also says that 10,000 hours of work practice, which I don't know how much is it that true or not. But so like you said that you should be multi-passionate, then if I become multi-passionate, then doesn't that also brings in multitasking? And don't you think that multitasking actually somewhere kills the level of mastery that one is trying to achieve?
I beg to differ with that actually.
Okay.
So there's two ways to look at it. I mean, you talk about Malcolm Gladwell, which is great. I mean, he's a great, thinker, and he has really good
Right.
insights.
Right.
One thing about the 10,000 hours of to mastery, I think there is a caveat to it. And the caveat there is that it has to be 10,000 hours of deliberate practice,
Yes. Yes.
right? It
Yes.
has to be deliberate. You need to know exactly what you're practicing, right? Even though
Right.
the same, when you talk about martial arts, right? All the
Yeah.
kung fu, taekwondo, and so on, they do the same style every day, right?
Right.
But it's
Right.
deliberate. They know why they're doing it, and they know every single time when they're repeating it, it's because there's certain things that change, right? Energy or whatever, right? So that deliberate practice is important. So I agree, right? So when you're being multi-passionate, you have to be aware that you need to be really, really good in one or two things. And I think
Right.
that fundamentally goes back to your purpose, right?
Okay.
For me, I'm multi-passionate in a few things, but am
Right.
I master in everything? No. Like
No.
if you look at my Instagram, if you look at my LinkedIn, if you look at my profile, my mastery is in coaching, leadership development, and human psychology.
Yes.
And then that's it. And my big
Right.
purpose in my life right now, like you have mentioned in my introduction, is to coach 1 million people in the world. So most of my time, like 70-80% of my time, is being, it's going towards that direction, right?
Okay. Right.
And some of you might be thinking, Karfei, you are a coach. You love what you do, you get paid, the world needs it, and you're good at it. So you have the
Story.
ikigai
Right.
that people, right? That's the strong ikigai.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Sometimes when you are so into one thing,
Right.
you need to be able to go out and do something that is not related to what you're doing
Okay.
in order for you to get new insights.
Okay. Right.
Let me give you an example. 2 weeks, was it 2 weeks? I think I posted an Instagram story post about this. I think a week or 2 weeks ago, I actually posted an Instagram story. And my friend noticed that I was actually spending my weekend watching a reality TV show.
Okay.
And apparently, in a lot of my friends' opinions and minds, Karfei is the guy that it's all into personal growth. He's all about reading books. He's all about self-help. He's all about coaching. He's all about motivation and all these things. So reality TV show doesn't fit
So
into
totally opposite.
Karfei's identity. Correct,
Yeah.
right? It's a totally different thing. But actually, in that reality TV show, I actually got some really important and really insightful leadership insights
Okay.
from that TV show.
Okay.
That is my experience. But let me
Right.
also give you another experience. We talked about athlete before. I'll give you the same athlete again, Kobe Bryant.
Right. Yeah.
He spent 20 years in the
Yeah.
basketball scene, right? He spent 20 years in the NBA. He spent
Right.
his first 10 to 15 years work every single day, never fail, working on his basic fundamentals. And that is footwork,
Right.
his handling, the core basic stuff. And he do that day in, day out, 10 to 15 years. But
Yeah.
after 15 years, he realized that, what? Doing this doesn't help me anymore. Do you know what he did?
Okay.
He went and learned from entrepreneurs. He went and interviewed different entrepreneurs in California, in the Silicon Valley, to see how they think, to see how they work, to see how they are able to perform on a consistent basis day in, day out. And it was there that he found about meditation.
Okay. Okay.
And that's how he incorporated meditation into his work, into
Huh.
his pre-game rituals a few years before he retired. So that's how he get into it, right? The late Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is the same. We all think that Steve Jobs is the guy that's very meticulous about every single details.
Yeah.
Do you know, in order for him to be able to build, Apple, one of the things that he did, in order for him to be able to learn about design, you know what he did? He actually enrolled in a calligraphy class. Now, for all
Oh.
of you who are using any Apple products, do you see calligraphy in your iPhone, in your MacBook? No. But why did he take it?
Yeah.
It's because he is able to channel his creativity by doing calligraphy. And second is that he realized that calligraphy is a different kind of font that is not being studied enough. So he went in to study calligraphy as a font and then is able to build the font that he wanted for Apple.
Okay. So, okay, what it suggests me is that a lot of times we say that, you constantly need to keep moving out of your comfort zone, but we always see this as moving out of comfort zone in terms of in our roadway or a path to our passion. That, if I'm actually trying to pursue something, then there would be a lot of roadblocks, but I have to actually push through them. We never saw it that you actually have to get off that road, go to another road as well, because that is also pushing out of your comfort zone to see what all you encounter on that road, and you might find something there which can be utilized on your passion road as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So tell me one thing. We all, I mean, these are some things that we have been hearing about and we know it. But still, what's that one factor, despite knowing everything, that stops us from actually achieving our potential, or actually, being successful, or actually living the true passion that we have in our lives? What is that one thing? Is it a lifestyle flaw, or is it a mindset flaw?
I I always believe it's a mindset thing. It's because where we are right now in this present moment, where our environment, whatever that we have gotten ourselves into right now, it's a product of how we think
Right.
that affects the ways we behave and the way we make decisions, right? So whatever that we
Right.
have right now, at the end of the day, you have to take full control. It is your choice. It's your
Yeah.
thinking that creates that action that you take, right? So for me, it has always been mindset. And most importantly, and that's the reason why my company, it's called Life Redesigned. My
Redesign.
coaching company is called Life Redesigned. It's because what I realized that over the past years, many years of coaching, I realized that a lot of people are stuck, or a lot of people have problems and challenges in their life. It's because they didn't consciously decide what they want with their life. They allowed the environment, they allowed their parents, they allowed their peers, they
Yeah.
allowed the advertisements on TVs to tell them what they should do with their life.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I started Life Redesign is because I want to help people to redesign their life. And in order for you to be able to redesign your life, it starts with mastering your mind.
Yeah.
You need to be able to relook at everything that has happened in the past, all the
Yeah.
decisions that you made in the past, everything, and be able to dissect why you do certain things, because then you'll be able to understand yourself and your own
Right.
mindset better.
Right.
Then only you can decide, you know what? Now that I've understood the past that I've come, and it has created my current and present life, now how and where can I go next?
Hmm.
Right? That's
Right.
important because it's just imagine yourself having a GPS. If you
Yeah.
have a GPS and the GPS can't detect where you are right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
is the GPS able to tell you how to go to wherever you want to go?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's impossible, right? So
Right.
we need to be able, on the vice versa is also true. If the GPS is able to tell you where you are, but it can't tell you destination, or
Where to?
you know what your destination is, right?
Yeah.
And you can't put it in, the GPS again is useless. So you
Right.
need both points. You need the present point, where you are, how far you have come, and then you need the future point, right?
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
what we need. We need to help people to relook at their life and relook at their choices, actions, behaviors, and then redesign their life by mastering their mind.
Right. So I was actually going through one of your again interviews where you said that the most popular belief that which what stops people is actually when they think that they are not enough. That I am not enough, and what you rightly said right now, that because we have been influenced by our media, by our parents, by our friends, by our peer circle so much that I think even to enact on our own sense of purpose, that also stops us, because the first thing that we think is that I'm not enough to actually even enact or consider that, what is actually inside me, and which is actually wanting to be brought out into the world, right? That's, I guess, one belief. But there's also one thing: there are people who think that, they are not enough, but there are also people, despite the reality check, that they think that they're really good enough. So in that situation, what is the correct way to actually have a reality check to understand where exactly you are in life, that you are not over exaggerating your estimate and you're not under exaggerating your estimate? Because there are a lot of people who think that no matter whatever they are, they're still very good enough.
Um, I'm not too sure if that's the case. I think if we look on the surface, right? If we look at probably their social media, we would perceive them as they would think that they're good enough.
Right.
But I can almost be sure that deep inside every single one,
Yeah.
even no matter how posh they are on the social media, or how much we
Right.
perceive them to be great,
Right.
I think we all have that feeling of not good enough. So I don't think there will be people who will say that, you know what, I'm good enough. And even if that person who say that I'm good enough, the reason why the person is saying that, it's because the person is having that conflict inside,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And again, right? I'm not saying that, people always think that they're not good enough, but I think
Yeah.
not good enough, it's a thing that has been stopping a lot of people from doing what they want to do, living their best
Yeah.
potential, doing what they're really good at, right? Even if you ask me right now, am I good enough? I mean, in a way, yes, right? I mean, I've done so many work, I've coached, I've trained, I've traveled the world to speak and so on. Definitely, I'm good enough. But if I compare myself to my mentor, if I compare myself to Tony Robbins, am I as good as Tony Robbins? Oh,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, I'm not, right? We are different, right? I'm not as good as him, but I'm as good as I think I can be in this
Yeah.
moment of time, right?
Yeah.
So that gives me that push, that motivation to keep going, right?
Right.
So
Right.
so in order for people to be able to kind of really look at the whole, I'm not good enough and so on, it's really about rewiring that belief. Because you
Right.
see, the thing about I'm not good enough, it's that it comes from our past conditioning,
Right.
right? Especially, we are in the Asian context, right? So talk a little bit about Asia, is that
Yeah.
Asian parents are never satisfied with their kids, have they? Right? I mean, think about it,
Right.
right? In
Yeah.
India, for any kids in India, you either become a doctor,
Dog.
an engineer,
Yeah. Yes.
lawyer, or you are a
Right.
failure, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? It's the same for me, right? I mean, I'm in Malaysia, but I'm Malaysian Chinese. So for my parents, if you're not a doctor, you're not an accountant, you're not a lawyer, you're pretty shitty, right? But so what I'm trying to say is that, for years in our life, when we're growing up and so on, our parents haven't been showing us and telling us how good we are, even though we are good. Like
Right.
scoring 98 out of 100% in the exams, the Asian parents would ask you, where are the 2%?
Yeah.
Right? You'll never be
Right.
good enough, right? And
Yeah.
that's the thing that's been conditioned in us. But the thing about life is that there is no score. Life is
Yeah.
not school. There is no 100%. There is no passing mark. There is no whatever mark. Life only has your own definition of success. So if you allow other people's definition of success to be the benchmark of yourself, then nothing's ever going to be good enough.
True. True.
So you have to change your mentality to think that, you know what, this is where I am right now, and this is where I want to be. Now the question is, it's not that I'm not good enough to be here, it's that I'm not good enough yet. So now what do I need to do to take a step further so that I can be good enough?
Right. Right.
Right? So that's the shift in the
Shift.
mindset that people need to take to be
Yeah.
able to kind of take that step forward.
Right. And what you said, it actually also connects. Like you said that, people are here and they want to be here. But of course, there's the mindset lack that they have, that they think that they cannot reach here. One thing that I also believe is that along with the mindset, they think that they do not have the right habits and lifestyle to actually take it to that level. Because when you're working towards something, I think when you start working towards something without any direction, it's just that this is what I like doing and this is what I do. But there's no clear cut path. There are no goals. There's no habit. There's no lifestyle that you set for. And on top of that, you also don't even have that mindset that you can achieve that. I think that also pulls you back because you're like, I just have set my mind on it, but this is a very virgin territory for me. I don't know what habits should I have, right? And then you go out and look for motivation. So I would like to ask you that habits or motivation, because according to me, motivation is like a painkiller. You have it, and as long as there is it in you, you won't feel anything. But as soon as it subsides, then you again would go out and look for motivation. Whereas habit, if it's in my routine, like I don't have to feel motivated to go and brush my teeth every day, right? That's a part of my routine.
Yep.
So how you actually get motivation and habit together to actually be walking on that path to achieve your goals?
I think for me, there are a couple of things that we need to look at, right? So
Right.
I think motivation it's overrated.
Yes.
Um,
So true. Absolutely.
because I mean the reason why I say it's overrated, it's because we are talking about the whole general motivation, right? Like what it means is that having people to push you, having that motivation to keep doing things or whatever. But they obviously, for every single person, we have our inner motivation. That is important, right?
Yes.
But I think what's more important than motivation, it's having inspiration.
Okay.
So instead of relying on motivation to push you, you need to have an inspiration to move towards too, right? Then the inspiration will pull you. It will make you want to change your lifestyle.
Yes.
It will make you want to change your habits. It will make you want to change your thinking patterns and whatever to be able to
Yes.
get that. So
Right.
so for me, having that inspiration is more important than having a motivation. Like you say, motivation is more like a painkiller, right? When you need it, you take a pill and then it's done. Okay, it's taken care of, right? But
Yeah.
inspiration, it's the key for me, in my opinion. And to
Right.
answer that question of habits, you were talking about just now, like, if I want to start something new, if I know that, that's the goal, but I don't know how to get there and so on. I have a something that I love, which is what I call fake it till you make it. Now, I want to
Fake it.
give a disclaimer. I want
Yeah.
to give a disclaimer, right? I know, fake it till you make it might be a bad quote, right? What?
Right.
So I want to give a disclaimer. The disclaimer is that fake it till you make it doesn't mean you fix something that you don't have in order to impress other people, right?
Right.
I think
Right.
we have probably seen a lot of like internet marketers or like all this, quick rich scheme or whatever. They rent a private jet. They show off their new whatever branded bags or belts or phones or whatever that is in order to
Right.
inspire other people so that other
Yeah.
people will want to follow them. But what I
Right.
meant by fake it till you make it is that you fake two things. Number one, psychology.
Okay.
What do I mean by psychology? Mindset.
Uh,
It goes back to
right.
the mind. Now,
Right.
every single successful person has some form of psychology, the way they think, that gets them to be successful.
Okay.
So how can you learn this psychology so that you can fake it, right?
Right.
Number
Right.
one, find a mentor, get a
Okay.
coach.
Right.
Number two,
Right.
read books. Autobiography is the biography is the best book to read,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
There are
Yes.
tons of books about great people. I have Tony Robbins, I have Peter Drucker, I have David Beckham, I have different kind of books,
Wow.
autobiography, because you will be able to tap into their mind when you read
Right.
about them, right?
Right.
So you can already fake that psychology. right? You don't need to wait until you become a millionaire, then you think like a millionaire. By the time it's too late, you need to
Yeah.
think like a millionaire right now. And when I say
Right.
think like a millionaire, again, right, it goes back to the disclaimer, right? You don't spend something that you don't have.
Yeah.
But how would a millionaire make a decision? When you want to splurge on something in this moment, what would a
Yeah.
millionaire say? A millionaire will be thinking from point of view, is this worth my money? Right?
Yeah.
What's the value of these things? What can I do with this money that I'm going to buy stuff versus I take this same money and invest it in something else that can get me 10x the return? That
Right.
is a millionaire mindset, right?
Right.
So
Right.
you can think as the millionaire mindset in this moment without having
Right.
to be millionaire, right? So that's the first one, psychology. The
Yes.
second one is physiology.
Okay.
What it means by physiology is your body language, right?
Okay.
Physiology means the way you talk, the way you speak, the way you stand, the way you act in general. Because the reason why this is very important, especially like for example for public speakers, if you want to get on stage, if you want to paint or whatever, service
Right.
based, right? A lot of times, new people sabotage themselves when they want to be a trainer, when they want to speak, they want to inspire, whatever. The whole body language when they get on stage, it's already not inspiring, right?
Yeah.
So you need
Yeah.
to be able to fake the physiology before
Yeah.
you get on stage, right?
Yeah.
And again, is that wrong? No, it's not, because when you change and fake your physiology, it makes you think better. It gives you confidence to do what you're doing, right? Again, you're not faking your physiology to impress others. You're faking your physiology so that your body helps you to
Yeah.
build that confidence to do what you need to do, right? So it's
Right.
psychology and physiology, the two main things I think
Right.
people need to get clear of.
Okay. And what about success habits? Like if I ask you, what should be the top 5 success habits everyone should have that can change their life, like that can literally put them uh, there on that path that can set them free, limitless, that they can achieve anything and everything. Top 5 success habits.
Wow. Well, for me, it's having a mentor and a coach.
Yes. Okay.
That's my success story. I wouldn't be
Right.
able to get to where I am today without mentors and coaches at different point of my life.
Right.
So at different point of my life, I have different mentors, different coaches. So that for me, has been something that it's really, really important.
Right.
Second, it's what has worked for me. It's be obsessed about what you really want to do.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that for me, like, day in, day out, that's the thing that you want to get good at. Of course, again, I'm saying, when you get good, it doesn't mean that, you spend 20 hours a day on that thing for the rest of your life. No, you
Right.
have to take
Right.
times off. You have to take a break, right? Because those conscious breaks help you to perform even better. So
Right.
for me, being obsessed is two.
Yeah.
Having a good routine, it's very important. And I know this might sound contradicting, but having a routine actually sets you free.
Okay.
Having a routine actually gives you freedom,
Okay.
because when you build your own routine, you don't allow other people's routine
Yeah.
to come and screwed up your routine, right?
Yeah.
So then you
Yeah.
have control. That's when you have freedom. That's when you have total freedom with your own time and so on. So having a good routine helps for me a lot. The
Right.
fourth one for me is visualization.
Okay.
I do visualization every morning. When I wake up. That has been something that has been game changing for me.
Right.
And last but not least, success habit for me. The last one that I could think of. Let's see. There are a few that I wanna. I think the last one is probably having peer support, having a group of social network friends
Right.
that you can rely on.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, because they have been, people who has been there for me when times are tough, when I go through different transitions in my life and so on.
Right.
So yeah, so for me that is the important one.
Nice. So you spoke about visualization, and because like okay, so you said one that one should be obsessed about what you want to do, and then you said that you should visualize. Now I've heard a lot of videos about visualization, and I don't know. I'm sure that you would have come across Michael Beckwith's video where he says that the more you get obsessed about something in your visualization, not in the real life, the more you want say that you want it, you want it, you want it. The more it gets translated to that I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it, and it actually runs.
Mm.
So, according to you, what is exactly the right method to visualize something? Is it like a switch on and switch off? And I mean, I'm in that moment when I'm doing it and then I'm out of it, I'm not even thinking about it. How do you do it?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on the different school of thoughts, and it depends on different people or which gurus or mentors that you want to follow. And I've actually seen some of Michael's work. I've met
Right.
him last year, I think, in LA. And for me, I think I get where he's trying to come from. He's trying to come from the whole abundance mindset, right? It's like the more you're obsessed with wanting certain things. But
Yeah.
the thing about what I was saying just now is that, number one, being obsessed for me doesn't mean being obsessed with the outcome.
Right.
For me, being obsessed is being obsessed with my work. Like for
Okay.
me, my obsession is how can I be better than who I was yesterday?
Okay.
My obsession is, what can I do more, or what can I do better in order for me, for my client, in order for my clients to get a better outcome? What can I do differently so that my clients can get outcome in a faster time? That
Right.
for me is my obsession. My obsession with human psychology, my obsession with the mind, my obsession with NLP and all these things. That's my obsession in terms of
Right.
knowledge and helping my clients. Not so
Right.
much on the outcome, right? So I'm not
Right.
obsessed with the outcome. I allow
Right.
because I know when I'm obsessed with my own craft, the
Yeah.
outcome is gonna come. It's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's still in a way aligned with what Michael Beckwith was talking about. And the second part of your question about visualization, for me, why I do visualization is not just visualization that of the outcome that I want in my life,
Right.
but for me, visualization is a form of inspiration. It pulls me forward, right? It kind of helps me to go through the day. It kind of helps me to, to remind me. It's a reminder for what I want in my life. It's a
Yeah.
reminder of, what, yeah, all this I want, it's possible. This is what I really want. Okay, let's keep it that way. Now let's get down to work, right? And for me, that is how I would perceive law of attraction. It's I need to put it out there. I need to be able to see it. I need to
Right.
know what I'm wanting. Then I can
Right.
work towards it, right? That's what I do in my visualization.
Right. So I think the way you put it up, I think you relate your visualization with when you said it right at the start, with your inspiration and your purpose. And that's why you are less obsessed with the outcome of it and more actually focused on the purpose and being inspired to do better. That's how I guess you visualize things, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So, because when you're visualizing something, I think you should also be need to expose to a lot of things, right? I mean, if I want something, I should be aware of the existence of that thing to actually bring it into my life, like that level of abundance or that level of success. I should be exposed to it.
Yep.
But when you are not actually coming from that background, then you actually become more creative. Like they say that you actually be creative and imaginative when it comes to visualization practices. So, talking about creativity over here, how do you define creativity in visualization and also in your work? And what according to you, like is there any process to actually be creative? Because a lot of people say that they are not creative, which I think everyone, all of us are. It's just that you need to tap into that particular, alignment and that consciousness to bring out the ideas. What is your process to tap into that creativity?
Well, I will agree with you that everyone is creative. That's in a way it's a fact, right? And if you look at the definition of creativity, and if you look at the word itself, where does it come from? It comes from the word create.
Yeah,
Can
exactly.
everyone create something? Hell yes,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Everyone can create a painting. Everyone can create a drawing. The only
Yeah.
thing is that, which one's going to fetch a better price, or which one is going to get like a 5 star or whatever, right? But we
Right.
can all
Right.
create, right? So for me, what works for me, I mean, this is something that I've been obsessed with ever since I was young. It's that I love to mingle and network with people who are older than me.
Okay.
So I've always spent most of my time, even during my university time, with
Right.
you know people who are older, like people who are already working, or people who are like CEOs and so on, and they show me what's possible in life, and that's how I'm able to create more. Because see, the thing is, this is something that my mentor told me as well, many years ago, is that if we create our future
Right.
of what we want
Yeah.
based on where we are right now,
Right.
the future is limited,
Yes.
right? Because
Right.
we are only this level. There's
Exactly.
only that much that you can see, you can feel,
True.
you can hear.
So true. Yeah.
So how can we then level up where we are right now without having experienced those things that other people have? And there's
Right.
only one way to do it.
Yeah.
It's to mingle with people who already have it,
Yes.
because then that will increases your perceived value, it will
Yeah.
increases your knowledge, it will
Yeah.
increases your experience, and
Right.
with that increase, the future that you want to create will be at a different level,
Right. Right. Very true. I
right?
mean, exactly. They bring in the whole exposure, which you are not actually, which you don't have, right? Right. Perfect. So, according to you, I mean, if I sum it up, according to you, creativity is something that if you actually mingle with whole different lot of people who have achieved something and are ahead of you in whatever stream you're trying to achieve, and you actually network with them, the ideas will come from there because of the conversations, because the kind of lifestyle you see them having, because of the kind of success you see them having. From there, you're actually going to get ideas to implement for your own self.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. So when I'm implementing an idea, right? We all know that the basic step-by-step processes that you think about something, you do it, you take the feedback, and you learn, right? But how much of a feedback is important? Because sometimes what happens is that we get so obsessed with ticking all the boxes, that as in whatever feedback that we have got from people, we want to tick all of them, that somewhere we actually lose out our own factor, and we just become like a very superficial version of what all of us want us to be. And I think it also creates at the same time a lot of pressure. So how much of feedback should be taken constructively, and how much one should prune it out, that I have my own quotient in the product that I'm trying to create, and I'm also actually bettering that.
Well, I think the thing about feedback is that you should only get feedback from people that matters to whatever that you're doing.
Right.
Am I going to go and get feedback about my coaching from my wife? Not really,
Right.
right? But I still do it because, again, that's how our relationship works. I tell her everything that I do,
Yeah.
and occasionally she would give me some brilliant ideas, right? But
Right.
do I kind of want to get feedback and implement every feedback that she say? No.
No.
Subject matter expert at the end of the day is me. But there will be other people that I will take it seriously, which is my mentor coach specifically, right? About coaching.
Right.
Who else do I want? If I want to get relationship advice, do
Right.
I go to random of my peers who are on the same age, probably seeing things on the same level? We the way we view relationship is the same, or do I want to speak to someone who probably have gone through different phases of their relationship? Which
Right.
feedback do I take more into consideration? Obviously, the people who matter more, which is the people who
Yeah.
have done the work, right? So,
Yeah.
so for me, feedback is something that you need to take very deliberately. What that means is that don't expect yourself to, let's just say, shoot a video and then throw it out on social media and just expect everyone to tell you what you can do better with your video, right?
Right.
Come
Right.
on, they will have a 10,000 things, because
Exactly.
especially in social media, people will have 10,000 things to say, and people will have 10,000 different things that they like, right? So you can still share it, get some feedback, whatever, and see which one makes sense to you, what feels right for you, that is aligned with what you want to do, right?
Right.
Sometimes there are some videos that I put that might seems a little bit more serious, and people give
Yeah.
me feedback, oh, Karfei, you should be more fun. But I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, but
But that's
fun is
not
not
me.
my persona. Yeah, I'm more of the
Intent.
confident,
Yeah.
charismatic, intense kind of
Yeah.
guy.
Right.
So I'm not. So for that comment, I'm like, yeah, thank you. I know where you're coming from, but I think I
Right.
want to stick to what I want to do. So and then I'll look for like maybe some videographer to ask. Which camera do you think I can do better? Which
Right.
angle do you think I can do more of? Right. That is professional feedback, right? So
Right.
be deliberate with your feedback on the
Yeah.
people that you get your feedback from.
Right. I mean, you very rightly said when you spoke about this whole speaking thing, because even I get a lot of feedback. Like, so certain people would want me to be more slow and you to be more gentle. And I'm like, but I have a lot of energy. I can't, like, because even when I try to do that, that looks so fake to myself. I'm like, this is not me. This is not what I am. I'm just trying to impress certain people. So it's okay if
Exactly.
have to be a people pleaser. I don't have to be like, be the coach for everyone. I think whosoever would connect with me would connect with me. So that's why he rightly said that's the reason I asked you that feedback question. I was like, this is one thing I have to ask him. Okay, so I guess I've already exceeded the time limit, but I have one question that I would like to end the session with is that uh, one thing that you would want to tell all the monkey minds, because I have been coming across a lot of people who have passion about something and they want to do something about it, but they would start it and either they would lose out all the interest or they would lose out the focus, and they know that they're monkey minds. What would you like to tell them to actually get that right and get into doing the thing?
Oof. That is a really tough question, because there 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 are two ways to look at it, right? Again, sometimes there are people who have that tendency to change,
Right.
which sometimes is a good thing, because I talk about it in my TED talk, is that you'll never be able to find your passion if you don't try something, right? So people who are
Yes.
willing to change, there's a bit of good things to that, because they know that, you know what, I've done this 2 months, it just doesn't click. I'll move on to
Right.
the next thing, which is great, right?
Right.
But on the other hand, there are people who do something for like a couple of months, they didn't even put in the work, and then they
Yes.
move on and jump on other things, right? So I'm assuming we're talking about the second one,
Yeah.
more like jumping for the sake of like, jumping and looking at the next shiny object and so on. Um, I think the most important thing is ask yourself, why do you want to do what you want to do? I think this is probably like going back to how we started the whole thing about purpose,
Yeah.
because it's the purpose that keeps you going, right? So whenever that you're doing something, when
Right.
you want to let it go, ask yourself why you started in the first place, right? If you started in the first place for the sake of trying,
Yes.
then ask yourself, have you tried enough?
That's enough. Yeah.
Have you tried your best?
Yeah.
If the answer is yes, then go, by all means, move on to the next thing. But if
Right.
you ask yourself that question, what is the purpose of me starting this thing that I started 2 months ago? And the answer is, you know what, I really want to coach and help people in this world. Then keep doing it, because you are on the right track.
Right.
But you can look at other means of doing or achieving your purpose. Maybe it's not coaching anymore. Maybe right now you figure a new way of, I don't know, becoming a digital marketer, because you want to help coaches to be able to
Right.
market themselves,
Right.
right? And that's okay, right? That's still aligned with your purpose, but just in a
Right.
different vehicle, right? Our career, our job, our role, our, the way we do certain things, how we, perform our career, is just
Right.
a vehicle towards achieving our purpose.
Right.
So that vehicle can change, and that's okay. But that purpose, you might want to keep it strong. That's
That's true.
my biggest advice to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. Basically, eventually, it all boils down to having a purpose and be inspired by it. Like that, if I actually put it, sum up the whole conversation that we have, there are two things that I learned. Have a purpose which should be broader than your passion, which should be, I think, impacting a society wherever you are, and be inspired. Let it pull you to actually do things, right?
100%.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Coach
Thank you
Karfei.
so much.
An insightful conversation. I absolutely loved it. There were so many. Trust me, I have still so many questions on my platter to ask you, but I know, I mean, there's a lot of time that would take. I would definitely would love to have you back again on Step Up with Natasha, maybe season 2 or whatever. But it was, every moment of it was such wisdom nuggets that you gave me, and I'm sure whosoever would be
Thank you.
watching. Thank you so much for
Thank you
having,
so much.
allowing me to actually have you here. And please, if you can tell our viewers where they can find you, how they can connect with you.
Well, you guys can always find me on my Instagram at Coach Karfei. So whatever name down here, Coach Karfei, you can find that on Instagram. You'll be able to see me. I'm pretty active on Instagram. And second thing is you can also find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook with the same name, Coach Karfei. You'll be able to find me. So I'm available on social media. My website, Life Redesigned with a past tense, redesigned.co, not com, liferedesign.co. You can also check out some of the programs that I have, some of the things that I do, and yeah, let's connect and help each other to make the world a better place.
Perfect, perfect. And I hope as soon as the lockdown ends, you have one of the sessions in India, and I would definitely love to attend one of those. I can't wait
Fingers
for it.
crossed. Thank
Fingers
you so
crossed.
much, Natasha.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
Coach.
much, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye. Take care. Good night. Bye.